The Insidious Sid Mars here. I know I love wrestling. I know you love wrestling. I know he, she, and they love wrestling. And we love wrestling.
Welcome to Women on Wednesday. Ooh, we are back again another week, and this is kind of special. It is special. Well, last time this person was on our show before. Didn't really say too much. I had to make some deals, we were going to do an interview then, but I really wanted to wait because, kayfabe factor. But we are happy to bring today the Insidious one. That used to be your name, but now we're going to call her Sid Mars. Sid, how are you doing today?
I am doing well. I'm doing well, and I'm happy to be here and talk a little bit about love and wrestling with you guys.
Ooh. People, we hear her voice. I mean, I heard her. We hear her voice now. It's a good thing. So before we get started, the first question I always ask is, why do you love wrestling, or what started your love for wrestling?
Ooh, okay. I'll say I'm one of those people who I did not watch wrestling growing up. I was not allowed to watch wrestling growing up. Both my parents are in the medical industry, and the second we started trying that stuff, they went, we're going to skip it. So I grew up watching, like, the things I got to watch was minimal. Got to watch, like, WCW here and there, which is lucky. I'll say that's lucky at least to start with some of that. It was when I was 21 years old that I actually went to my first independent wrestling show. It was an Inspire Pro Wrestling show in Austin, Texas, that had, a lot of the people that you see on TV now, Ricky Starks being one of the first wrestlers that stood out to me, of course. And I actually met the Izzy James himself there for the first time at that first independent wrestling show I ever went to. I think the thing that drew me in the most was the performance and entertainment portion of it. The athleticism, it comes with the turf. You say wrestling, I know athleticism comes into it. But I had no idea the extent of the performance factor in wrestling, and it immediately spoke to me. I've been performing on stage for 25 years of my 28 years of living. I've done all kinds of mediums, and that includes things like musicals, doing acting and stuff. So seeing these people out there exerting this kind of energy, getting their asses kicked and kicking other asses, meanwhile telling me an entire story, giving me a movie anywhere from 5 minutes to 20 minutes, I was hooked. That's all it took.
No. Let's ask this. So last time you were on, had the mask on, wasn't talking. What made you change to now that you want to speak and everything? I mean, I saw the reality of wrestling episode, but I'll let you tell the people.
Well, I had the very fortunate ability to have a platform like Reality of Wrestling for this change. And, I thank Booker T as well for being someone who really helped guide me through that, and making the decision that I made that was a hard decision because, I worked very hard on the Insidious One gimmick. And that was something that I dedicated my heart and soul to. You have to dedicate when you're a character like that. I mean, my props to Abaddon, but that kind of character. But what I really wanted was to be able to show another side of myself. I did the Insidious One gimmick for about, in-ring time about 3 years. Add some injuries to that, as you know. And I wanted to be able to show people that I could talk. And of course, I got an interesting face. I'll call it an interesting face. So, and I'm ready for people to see the full facials. If I can tell the story with my eyes, I'd love to be able to tell one with the rest of my face. So that was a lucky experience to, like I said, get to do that on Reality of Wrestling. And it was also really special to me for the fans who have been so diehard and been so supportive. I was a little bit worried that I'd lose people, that people would say, oh, that was the special thing about you. And man, that the response could not have been more opposite. And it gives me a little bit of warm feeling inside me to know that people were still here for me. So it's been awesome.
Let's try to get inside your head. So 3 years, Insidious one, being the character, not talking. You came on our show last year, the 2020 wrap up? Because this is now 2022. So
I think it was 20. It was 2020.
Yeah, we were leaving out of 2020. And Trevor Aon came on and spoke for you. So this is a 2-part question. First, when you came on, how did it feel? What was going through your head while Trevor was speaking for you, if you remember that? And like a career perspective of the 3 years, crawling around and everything, how did you feel?
Well, it was very interesting doing the podcast, knowing that I wasn't going to speak and knowing that that was going to be weird for you. That was actually probably one of the first things I thought about is I hope he's ready for just a creep show, because that's what Insidious is just a creep show. I love Trevor Aon. Trevor Aon is probably in my top 10 favorite independent wrestlers on the scene right now. Definitely being because, man, that guy brings a show. He brings a show with him. Like, that's the character stuff, and having him speak for me was interesting because, I had in my head what I thought his responses would be, and they were different, and I was cool with that. It was fun because it was this weird thing of like, I thought maybe he felt a little weird because it's like, all right, improv, like cut your promo on the spot right there for someone else.
Right there, and you see that card that just came up, you can go and see what we're talking about on the YouTube channel. So where my fingers pointing should be a card that just popped up over on that other side. So check that out. Trevor Aon, one of your favorite people. Nicole, Trevor Aon is one of your favorite people. So I might as well switch it over to you so you can ask a few questions.
All right. So you were talking a little bit how you've been performing for about 23 years. So just to switch it up a little bit. So if you weren't wrestling right now, what would you think you'd be doing instead? Or what kind of path you think you'd be going down if you weren't down this one currently?
So I played music professionally for 10 years growing up. I play several instruments. My main instrument is bass guitar. When I first went to my first independent wrestling show, I was still playing music. So I played all over the place, but was fortunate enough to grow up in Austin, Texas, which is the live music capital of the world, obviously. Yeah. I know that if I wasn't wrestling, I'd probably still be in music as my medium because it's my heart. Like, music is my whole heart. I have some dance background, but I don't think I did ballet for 12 years, which is, I credit a lot of my ability in wrestling to, but I think music would be it. I'll take a minute to plug a little bit. I'm actually coming up going to be doing some work with a group called Monster Wolf that is Mecha Wolf's group. So I'll be playing bass alongside them as Insidious and have some fun. You guys will get to enjoy that and see another side of Mecha Wolf that I think that so many people, they ain't ready. They are not ready for that.
Shout out to Mecha Wolf.
But yes, that's what I'd do, is probably be back in the music industry.
Shout out to Mecha Wolf.
Yeah. So obviously, like, being at like I always feel like music is so important to wrestling, especially everyone's entrance music, because you right off the bat, even before you see that person wrestle, you can kind of just to see what their vibe is and what their character is. So what band, sans yourself, because obviously you seem like you're very talented, 7 instruments. So what band would be, or what artist would be like your dream artist that you can collaborate to come up with a theme that you think that would perfectly encapsulate not only just what you're doing now, but also the Insidious one in general?
So my current entrance music is by a band called Ghost, and I've really enjoyed using that. But if I had to pick, it would be a group that's called Carpenter Brute, and they are very much electronic, really heavy electronic. And I'd eat that up getting to work with them on something real industrial electronic, some serious bass synthesizer in there.
I love that. So speaking, so obviously I wasn't in the interview, but I watched it and I absolutely love it. So just speaking back, so what does a typical day for you look like when you're at reality or wrestling, or a typical day recording, whether it's you just like practicing in the ring or you doing a TV taping?
So when it comes to that, it depends on what my role is. I've been really fortunate to also be a manager as well, and got to manage Legion, the tag team that longest reigning reality wrestling tag champs, just saying, but got the ability to manage them. And I also wrestle, obviously. So, on a day that's more about managing, I spend some good time getting myself into my character, spending some time. Obviously, I'm a big fan of having a look, doing my hair and doing my makeup, getting myself in whatever gear I decide to choose that day, and then having the beautiful opportunity to stand there and listen to people who I admire work on their match, plan, make what their execution is going to be, and I get to learn the whole time. And that's got to be my favorite part about when I get to manage. On a day though where I'm wrestling, I wake up, I try to eat something real small. I get my ass right up into the gym. After that, I eat some sushi. Every time I have a match, I eat sushi that day, because that's the one thing that's not going to make me vomit. It might make some other people vomit just thinking about sushi, but that's what sits right on my stomach. I get to the show. Usually I'll already have done my look at that point, and I get a little bit in the ring. Got to feel it out, get myself really in that mindset and feeling sharp, feeling limber with as many injuries as I've had. I warm up some of my body. I have some band workouts I do, things like that, to get myself prepared. And I just stay excited about my opponent showing up. So once the opponent shows up, we get to make something beautiful. I'm one of those big people who's a big proponent of wrestling is art. And it's two people making art together. And, of course, you get the input of someone like Booker T, which we always get great input from him. Whether the input is you guys go do what you want, or him literally helping you shape yourself and helping you know how to really plan a match. I mean, I didn't start up at Booker T's. Reality of Wrestling was not my first school. I trained kind of all over and was a little bit of an orphan as far as my schooling went. And once I started going to Reality of Wrestling, I understood wrestling after that. But that's kind of the day in the life there. With tapings, we do those kind of separate days. We'll do them on separate days, and those are when you get to also be really creative. And I have a great time doing those tapings there. They've got a great team. I mean, Reality of Wrestling, I'm extremely biased, is the top indie promotion in Texas. They put out an extreme quality product that I'm so fortunate to be a part of.
I just popped a little bit for the sushi comment. I know Trey can attest for this, because our very early of We Love Wrestling, especially when we were primarily very focused on Facebook, I kid you not, every either Wednesday or recording I would be eating sushi before we would start, and they'd be like, "Oh my god, here she got those fucking chopsticks." They're like, "Where did you get this?" This week.
I love it.
But it's just pop. But I do agree. Like, I love reality wrestling. I feel like it's very underappreciated when we talk about the independent promotions, especially independent promotions that you can watch. Because I love Fight TV. And I feel like there's a lot of like free content that people are missing out of, because they're so, no offense to IWTV, I love IWTV, but I feel like there's so much that people miss out on, whether it's like you guys at Reality Wrestling, and then when Championship Wrestling is on there, and so on and so on. So there'll be a time where I'll be like, hey, like, you check out Reality Wrestling. It's like, is that a fucking school? It's like, yeah, but but they have TV, and it's great. And I feel like it's like gritty, and it's like compact. And I just really like, because it's just very personal. So I feel like that's something that's great, that Booker T is a great thing that he's done. is like really bring the right people in to really showcase themselves, and you can literally see their growth from week to week, month to month, year
Yes.
to year. And I just think that's fantastic. And I'm just like so happy, even seeing how far you've come with this, you evolving your character and whatnot. So, what can we expect from you in the future? Or what do you kind of see yourself doing more so, since we're literally right in the beginning of 2022?
Well, I am going to try to really take 2022 by the balls, man. I want to make this my year. I have
Okay.
absolutely, I've been given a really rough hand in wrestling. I've had injuries, I've already mentioned like 3 times probably. I've had some serious injuries that took me out. Sure, I've had this character for 3 years, you can take over a year and a half out of injury time from the amount of injuries I've had. So I'm a lot greener than a lot of people might think. And I've been putting in the work, and I'm ready for people to see that change in my in-ring abilities. And it took so long to get my body right after having 2 broken collarbones, a torn hamstring. I had my nose broken before show. I'll tell a fun little story on this one. The night that we won the Reality of Wrestling tag titles, I had a wrestler who will not be named give me a code breaker where they yanked my face right into their knee and they snapped my nose. And my nose is extremely crooked now. They definitely, it was a rough time to decide, am I going to go out there and still do this spot? And you bet your ass I put my nose right back in place, went out there and did my spot, and with a bleeding nose under there and everything. But I'm ready for people to see my resilience in the ring now after the time I've had to heal from all of this. I think that I'm going to get to show them finally what I've got.
That's amazing. And I know myself, along with Terry and the rest of our family, and we love wrestling. We're here any other time you want to come on here and come spotlight. We always love checking in on everyone, especially in the beginning of the year when we have these spotlights, and checking in the middle of the year and then end of the year. So we look forward to speaking to you in the future so you can tell us all the recap, everything that you've done.
Awesome.
But on that note, I'm going to kick it over to Terry, see if he has any questions he wants to ask.
Oh, yeah, Terry got to get in here. Big tradie. Miss Insidious one, let's talk about it. You said your matches, you ready to take over in 2022. The Diamonds division. I mean, how you feel about the competitors in the Diamonds division? I'm not gonna call anybody out, but how you feel? Well, I am gonna call somebody. How you feel about the competitors and the champion of the Diamonds division right now?
I respect every single diamond in the Diamonds division. I absolutely do. Are you trying to just ask me how I feel about Rachel Rose? Just say it. Is that what you want to know?
No, I don't have no issue with the Queen of House Rose. I just want to know how you feel about.
I don't either. I don't either. I respect Rachel Rose on a different level. I have had an injury that I watched her have. When I broke my collarbone the second time, she had just torn her labrum, like same week. I watched her come back from that, and there was no slouch in there. That woman is a serious competitor and someone that I take very seriously when I do step in the ring with her. And I sure hope I get that opportunity while she is still champion to come humble her a little bit. I wouldn't mind that, I'll say. She could use some humbling. We've seen her out there and how she conducts herself. But I'll tell you right now, the thing I'm the most excited about in the Diamonds division and that I'm hungry for is AQA. I want her. I want AQA. She's back. She wants the smoke. She cut a hella promo the other day. I was a name she called out. So she said something, I'm saying something. That's that. I want her. I want Promise Braxton. That's another person I want to get in the ring with, Promise Braxton. And, coming up, we have a Canton show on the 22nd. I'll be in the ring with Vert Vixen, one of my favorite people, one of my best friends and favorite competitors.
So AQA, Promise Braxton, got Vert coming up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, AQA and Promise Braxton are former Diamonds champions. Vert is not. She's just getting down there at reality of wrestling. So you're just trying to take out the top champions to prove to get you a championship match. Is that what you're trying to do?
Yes, absolutely. I want to go toe to toe with the women that have inspired me, because I want to say that every single one of those women have inspired me. They all got a little more experience than I do, and I am always got my ears open to listen to those women and their opinions, their thoughts. And I feel like I'm at a different point than I've been at, and I think they know that and they've noticed that. So I think it's time that everybody gets to see that I can hang.
All right. Now, this is just a question I want to know. You shared the Insidious one character. Are you still going to be crawling to the ring? Because, I mean, every time I used to see you crawl, I'd be like, man, she's crawling like long distances. I know this got to hurt a little bit. Are you still doing that?
That's true. I would say there's not a better crawler than me out there. And this is something I'm still debating. I'm even still debating whether I'm gonna come out in that mask, man, because that mask is part of me. That's what I'll say, is this character is changing, but there's a little bit of me stitched into that mask. I can't act like there isn't. And I love to crawl. I do. I guess I wouldn't have picked it if I didn't love the scary fast crawl. So I feel like I probably am going to incorporate a little taste of that, at least at first, keep that going. Because like you said, it's one of the things I've heard a lot of people really love that part of the character. And I never wanted to be scary. I wanted to be creepy. And a lot of people say, oh, well, those two things are the same thing. I don't think so. I think being scared of something is one thing. I'm scared, like, you're scared of Abaddon. I just want to make you uncomfortable. And I think I succeed at that.
Yeah,
I love it.
When you do the crawl, I'll be like, what is going on here? That's just weird. It's so far. Yeah, that does trip me out, but it's great to be a part of your character. Let me ask this now before I forget. Let me lean in a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
I got to. The Rock or Stone Cold? Come on.
Stone Cold all the way.
We still
all
going.
the way. I can't. That is that is one of my top. Actually, probably my favorite wrestler is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
We are 3 weeks in, people, and we still have not got The Rock. So I am keeping this. Not worry about that. Somebody picks him. Too bad that time is over with. But let's get back here. You said being there working under Booker T. You didn't. I mean, training under Booker T. Working. I mean, he owns it. I mean, being around Booker T. You said you didn't understand wrestling until you actually got to reality of wrestling. Before that, you was an orphan. Could you just tell like a little bit of how the experience is there with reality of wrestling?
Absolutely. I think one of the coolest things about reality of wrestling is we do film study with Booker, and Booker will pick a match or we'll pick a match, and we sit there and he will break it down, breaks the whole thing down to you. And I think my favorite thing is, of course, watching his matches where he gets to tell us where his head was at, and he remembers, and there are some wrestlers who don't even remember half their matches, but he remembers, and it's kind of beautiful. But the thing that I learned from Booker T that changed the way I view a match entirely is thinking for your opponent. The ability to think for your opponent can enhance your match in a way that you just don't even realize. I think it's so important to, before you walk into a ring with someone, have watched their footage and seen their footage. And just knowing how to enhance that person enhances you. It's not just about you in a match. It's absolutely not. It's not about one person in that ring. So being educated on your opponent and thinking for your opponent can really be a game changer in what elevates a story in a match. I had never thought twice about that. I knew the psychology of wrestling, but I did not realize how much control you can have and how much a story can change just by thinking as well for your opponent and knowing how to cut yourself off. That's another thing we talk about a lot, is knowing how to cut yourself off, how to even, like, sure, you ain't going to get your best move in, but if you know how to cut yourself off in a really slick way, it can get over more than your move sometimes.
Okay, cut yourself off. That's wow. I might be wrong, but I don't think I am. Doesn't reality wrestling, they used to have an online class? You pay like $25. You could sit in while he breaks down matches. I think I saw one time online.
They do that, yeah. And we haven't done a film study here in a hot minute, but whenever they do, they offer sometimes ones just for people that are non-wrestlers. And then sometimes, yes, you can sit in with the reality wrestling students and actually watch and get the experience that we have. And man, like $25, that's nothing for the information that you're getting from this man. Like, and he's humble too. It's really cool to hear him talk about it because he doesn't act like he knows everything, but he kind of does know everything. But he acts like he doesn't. And I kind of like that too about him. I think that anybody who is even interested in wrestling, if you see that opportunity to sit in on one of those classes, one of those film studies, do it. You're going to find out things that you never knew about wrestling and about the thing that you love. If you're someone who loves wrestling, especially, and we love wrestling here, right? You should definitely participate in something like that.
I just brought that up because I did sit in on one. It was with some wrestlers. I had my camera off, but I mean, it was people in there like Roxy at the time was in there. Rachel Rose was in there. You see some stars, but like she said, Booker T does break down the matches, and I just listen to them. You know, it'll open your mind up. So if you see that come up, maybe just test it out. I don't know. I'm just saying. But being down in the Texas area, even though reality wrestling, as you said, you feel it's the best independent company there in Texas, you do go through the circuit down there in Texas in some other areas. Maybe I'm wrong, but are you a champion right now in one of the independent companies?
Yeah, I do have the women's title at Fearless Pro Wrestling. So it's Fearless Pro Wrestling. It's kind of a small promotion. It's a little bit of an upstart in its own way, which is fun to get to help build it. That's where I do currently hold the title.
Okay. I know I saw a championship somewhere, so I just wanted to make sure I was right. I'm just excited about this conversation. So 2022, you're gonna be kicking ass.
Yes.
Besides kicking ass, is there anything else we should expect? Are you looking to get out of Texas? I mean, I saw you in Florida. So what are you looking to like adventure out more now that you know?
Absolutely. I had very fortunate experience to wrestle in London right before COVID hit. And I learned so much there and I loved it. I mean, it's a different style of wrestling. It's just so amazing to work with wrestlers who are not from America and not even from your state. There's just such a difference. You know, wrestling, it has so much flavor and there's different options. It's not all one thing. So I know that my big goal is definitely to try to get back out to the UK because it was such a great experience. And there's some other Rev Pro, there's some stuff out there, Wrestling Eve, that I'd really love to get some opportunities there. And yeah, you'll definitely see me in other states. I know I'll be going to Washington coming up and doing a few things there. Anywhere. I'll go anywhere to wrestle for the most part.
Anywhere. Y'all heard what she said. Hit her up. How you doing, Maddie? She's another person who joins us here. She sent some questions in. She's under the weather right now, but I wanted to make sure that I asked the questions that she also sent in. So she wanted to know, do you consider yourself a role model for young girls? Just a question that she asked.
I do. I absolutely do. And I don't think I really knew I was one until I had some little girls who showed me that I was for them. And that's one of the most touching things I've experienced in wrestling, is knowing that the little spooky girl's out there too. She's out there and she likes the dark stuff, and she wants something that represents what she likes too. And it like I said, kind of shocked me knowing that people that wanted to dress up as me for Halloween. I've got some great pictures of some little girls dressed up as me for Halloween. And what's funny about that is the Sid Mars character, this transition, Sid Mars is about women. Sid Mars is about the women who enough is enough. Enough of being shoved in a box. Enough saying we're sorry. None of that. That's not what 2022 is going to be about, and nothing on from there. So it's, like I said, funny that you say that, because I'm hoping that this next character is even more of a role model for little girls and women, just women in general.
Women in general.
I love that saying.
I love to hear it. Nicole, before we do this last spot, I mean, I could keep asking questions, but I want to see what's going on. I'm going to ask the one question, then do our last spot. You got anything asked Sid before we get out of here?
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much for having the time to speak with us today, and then just can't wait to see what else you do for the rest of 22. I'm excited.
So thank you. I've had a great time chatting with you guys.
So Sid, before we do our last spot, I always ask this question. You gave us AQA, Promise Braxton, and you have Burt Vixen coming up. But I always ask, is there 3 independents, not at reality wrestling, that you just see out here, wrestling, and you like, you know what? They have to see me at some point. Do you have 3 people that you would like to face?
I would really like to get in the ring with Hyon. I know she's a reality of wrestling person, but she's kind of branched out and is elsewhere. So Hyon's on my list. Heather Monroe is a huge one for me. I've been dying to work Heather Monroe. And the other these are just kind of people that I have a long list, but then the third one would be Jamie Senegal. I want to work her very badly. We both have our eyes on each other, and we want to have a good match together, and I know we would. So that's a competitor I'm really looking forward to, hopefully this year, getting the opportunity to work with.
I love Jamie. I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Mark. Absolutely.
3 good names. Maybe we can see it happen. I see Hyon going back and forth to reality of wrestling, so who knows? Maybe a match set up. Right. So the final thing that we do here, I love to do it. It's called the Put Yourself Over moment. This is where you let our people know your social media, ways they can support you. If you have a t-shirt store, or how to get 8x10s, anything you just want to promote for yourself. We just ask you to put yourself over.
Oh, well, the number one thing I'll say is there's a lot to watch. So keep your eye on my Twitter. That's going to be at Insidious Sid Mars. Only one S. This might be a little confusing, but Insidious Sid Mars. You can check out my Instagram, which is Insidious_ones_. Both those places I'm going to be putting out a lot of content. You're going to get to learn a little bit about who Sid Mars is, see a little bit of action there. And coming up here, I've got a few matches. I'm going to be this coming up Saturday at Branded Outlaw Wrestling in San Antonio, wrestling Vicky Vivento. I will be wrestling in Canton for Reality of Wrestling 22nd against Burt Vixen. And I've got an exciting 3-way coming up after that, February 5th at the Indie Expo, which, if you can get yourself a ticket, get yourself a ticket. Will All-Day versus ACH. I know I'm supposed to put myself over, but I can't help it. But I'll have a fun 3-way there with good old Killa Kate and Alejandra Lyon. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Keep your eye though on, like I said, on my social media. I'll be kind of letting you guys know where I am as these to come days come on. I'm not letting too much, like not planning too far ahead because of COVID, and I'm big proponent of stay safe when you go to the shows, wear your mask, be a good neighbor, y'all. For Sid Mars. Do it for Sid Mars.
Ooh, do it for Sid Mars. Are you going? Well, Mania's in Texas. Are you going to be at? Are you? Well, of course you're going to be down there.
Yeah, I definitely will be down
there. Mania, but you so that makes no sense for me to ask that question. Wear your mask, people. Follow her on all social media platforms. It's a great watch. I mean, watch some of her matches too, because I watch the matches. I'm like, ooh. But now she got the mask off, so the gloves are off too. You can come out in the mask, right? And then when the match start, just take it off, or you can take it off at the entrance and do a whole thing, like to let people. Oh man, I got so many ideas. I'm just ready for 2022. I mean, like this is full circle. A year later, we could have had the conversation. I had a voice changer, but I really don't want to do that. She's never said anything at all. Then I was watching reality wrestling, and I was like, she speaks, she talks, she slaps him, she walks away. So I don't know what's gonna happen next, but thank you, Sid, for joining us here. Nicole, thank you for joining us. She mentioned Heather Monroe, so if you're watching this or you made it this far, go back to last week and listen to Heather Monroe's tag team partner, Ray Lynn, and we'll have Heather Monroe come in the coming weeks, and we'll put that out there to her, play the little clip, and see what happens here.
Yes, please.
But other than that, Sid, thanks for joining us. I'll likely see you in the coming months. So I'll be in Texas for some things. So hope to see you. Hope to see a match live. I know you're gonna tear it up. Can't wait to watch it. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. We're gonna get out of here because I'm excited. You should be excited. It's Sid Mars. I'm still gonna call her an Insidious one, so don't be upset about that.
You can still call me that. I'm still Insidious. That's not going anywhere.
Here, yes. But I'm Trey D, and like I always say, if I love wrestling and you love wrestling, then we love wrestling. It's too sweet. For the coach.
Love wrestling and you love wrestling, then we. You're not here, you missing out. Is this show?